I'm going to give you some ways that you can detect whether a person is a perpetrator, an infiltrator, a double agent, a agent provocateur, undercover, informant. They're all the same. Okay, these people are usually paid or given some sort of early release from jail in exchange for them infiltrating different groups or an individual person's life. Okay, these people can either work for the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, or there's some other agencies that they could possibly be working for. And again, they try to infiltrate organizations, different political movements, groups, or even individuals. They'll always try to get you to like them by having something in common with you or something familiar with you. They may say things like, I think I know you from somewhere, or you look just like my Aunt Betty, or something in common. They definitely have to try to find a way to bond with you so that you see them as cool or as their buddy or as a friend. They'll say things like, you're my sister, or they'll call you brother, or something like that. Just really try to get in with you. A lot of times they'll move real quickly. And if that happens, you should see that as a red flag. Like all of a sudden they're just so familiar with you and they're so cool with you and things just seem to move real quick. That could be a red flag because friendships take time to build. They don't move quick. They may try to request things right off. Can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? Can you take me over here? Can I come to your house? You want to go to lunch? Like everything's just moving so fast. Or they may try to pressure you. They may ask you, do you want to go to the movies? And you'll say, okay, I'll think about it. I'll get back with you. And they may say something like, well, I need to know now. Like they're really demanding. They want you to decide things really quick, and that's so they can move quick into your life. Their job is to entrap you, to set you up, to get you off track, to gather information, to put disinformation out there on you or the group that you're with, to cast you in a bad light so other people don't want to deal with you. They may do things like, once they get into your life, they may do things like try to get you hooked on drugs, try to get you to drink more than what you should, try to get you caught up in crimes, okay? They may try to suddenly implant or evoke thoughts in your mind, thoughts of violence, thoughts of other crimes, may try to turn people away from you or try to discourage you from being around people that you enjoy being around. So they might try to separate you, or try to stop you from doing things that you do, that you enjoy doing. They always want to know what you're doing and who you're doing it with. They try to manage your time. They try to manage the things you do and the people around you. They try to stunt your growth. These are all their goals. They may try to gaslight you by implanting things in your mind that you're crazy, and they may actually use that word crazy a lot around you, or mentally ill, and try to get others to think that you're mentally ill, because these are disinformation agents. They spew disinformation. All while they're thinking, they have you thinking that they're your friend. They're going behind your back with disinformation. Okay? They know how to gain your trust. And once they gain your trust, they'll later betray you. These people are everywhere. They're on YouTube. Now on YouTube, these are the people who thumbs down the videos. They leave very negative comments in the comment section on the videos, trying to discredit the videos. So when you see a video that has a lot of negative comments, most of the time that is because a internet troll came through there and that was their job, to discredit those videos. And those are usually the better videos. It's something in that video that they don't want you to hear, and so they discredit these videos. And if you click on their profile, most of the time they don't have any videos themselves. Not to say everybody makes videos, but you can just kind of get little hints by looking at their profiles that they just may be an agent. And if you follow some of their comments on other YouTube channels, they have those same type of comments on other channels where they go and they discredit. That is their job, to discredit the videos. But they're not only on YouTube, they're on pretty much all social media. All social media. They're everywhere, all over the internet. They are also in your families, on your jobs, in the communities. They're everywhere. These agents are everywhere. They show up at different political rallies. They provoke. A lot of times when you see violence at these protests, it is these agents. These agent provocateurs. They are sent to different protests to invoke anger, to incite riots and violence. A lot of those people are sent. For the most part, they're pretty good at what they do. So a lot of times you won't even know that you're dealing with the perpetrator. And that's why it is really important to try to learn some of the signs and to actually notice some of the things that they do. And if you're a targeted person, you can be assured that these people will try to get in your circle at some point, either through a family member or through a friend. They're definitely going to try to get in, and that's why it's super important to try to know some of these signs. And it's really hard because for the most part they blend in pretty well, and because the community, the targeted community, are isolated. Most people are isolated and don't have a lot of people in their lives. When someone comes and they poses as a cool person or as a friend, it's easy to let them in because you want to have friendship or companionship. But you really have to know the signs of these people, because these people will pick your life apart, and they'll cause a lot of havoc and could cause you some serious problems. So you don't want to be dealing with these type of people. So if this is someone that you're just meeting, they're going to, as I said, try to have something in common with you. So if you're into sports, they're going to talk about sports. If you're into family, they're going to talk about family. If you're into knitting, they're going to talk about knitting. If you're a spiritual person, they're going to talk about the Lord. Okay? If you meet them through someone else that you already know, then it's going to be even easier for you to trust them. And that is one of their tactics, to go through someone that you know already, to have them to introduce them to you. So you're automatically going to trust them. Okay? Let's see. Another thing they do is they'll try to bait you into certain conversations. And a lot of times that will be something violent or something like that, because they want to try to paint you as a radical person or a violent person. These people come into your life with an ulterior motive because they are assigned to you. So you are a job. And if their goal is to make you look radical, then they're going to talk about radical things. If their job is to make you look mentally ill, then they're going to try to bait you into conversations that make you sound mentally ill. Okay, so they'll get familiar with you way too quickly. And I may have said this already, but they may refer to you as brother or sister, and it's just too quick. You've only known them a week, and all of a sudden you're their brother or you're their sister. They may constantly be calling you or texting you because they're trying to keep track of you and your time. They may say a little bit, but for the most part, and that's basically to bait you into certain conversations, but for the most part, they'll put the bait out there and they'll let you do all the talking. because remember, they're information gathering. So usually they limit their conversation, but they just throw the bait out there and they let you do a lot of talking. So be careful about how much information you put out there on yourself, and don't get too comfortable too quick. Okay. They may try to encourage you to do things against what you would normally do. Again, they really promote violence. And when they set you up, it'll be real subtle, and you may not even realize that you're taking the bait and that you're eventually going to be set up. You may have a feeling like that person has some sort of secret life, like something about them just doesn't add up. Their time doesn't add up. They may tell you they have a normal 9-to-5 job, but it just kind of doesn't seem like they do. It may seem like they have some sort of hidden income. They may say things that may lead you to believe that they're privy to certain types of information, and they may even say things like that. I know there's a particular person who makes the comment that they have that they're privy to certain information. So just look out for that. And they generally don't follow through with important things or things that they commit to. They may tell you that they're going to do something that may help you out, but and then they'll come up with an excuse of why they couldn't do it. Okay. So the best way really to detect these people is to learn the signs of deceptive people, because these people really are out to deceive you. And so I'm going to give you some signs of deception. One is that you may ask a question. You may ask this person a question, and they'll answer that question with a question. So instead of giving you a direct answer, they'll turn around and ask you a question, because they're being deceptive. So if you said something like, did you take that? And they'll say something like, why would I take that? Or do I seem like the kind of person that would do something like that? Instead of just saying yes or no. No, I didn't take that. Or no, I didn't see that. Rather than just saying that, they'll say, why would I do that? Or do I seem like a person that would do that? So they'll never really answer the question. They never really said whether they took it or not. They just ask you, why would they do it? See, so you have to pay attention to things like that. They never really answered the question. They never really commit. When they answer a question, they never really commit. So again, if you said something like, did you see that? Say for instance, for targeted people, you're somewhere with this person who may be an agent and or a perpetrator, and you're with them and you've been trying to tell them that you're being targeted, and you've been trying to show them real life examples of your targeting. So you may be in public with them, and here comes 30 people all wearing black and red, which is, I'm using that for an example because that's real common in the TI community. So here's 30 people right in front of your eyes with all black and red, and you might point it out and say, see, that's what I was telling you about. All these people stalking me with this black and red on. Do you see that? And they'll say something like, well, not really, or well, I guess, or well, sort of, or, they deny what is actually in front of them. So they won't commit. They will not acknowledge what you're saying, and it's right in front of their eyes, but they don't want to give you that. They don't want to agree with you, and they know they see it. So that's a red flag. That's a red flag. It's plain as day. Here's 30 people with black and red, but you're saying you don't see that. Okay, so they don't want to validate what you're saying. They don't want to acknowledge that this is really happening to you. Okay, because they don't ever want to be in a position where they can be a witness for you. Okay. They may have lack of detail. In other words, if you ask a person, are you a targeted individual? And they say yes. And you say, okay, well, how are you targeted? Tell me your targeting story. Well, TIs have a targeting story. And we can go into great detail about our story because we're telling the truth. And when you're recalling something, you have memories attached to that. So if I'm telling you my targeting story, the memories of what I'm telling you is coming to my mind, and I can tell you great detail. If you have a targeting story, you can tell me verbatim everything that has happened. I mean, you may forget a thing or two. That's normal. But you can tell me in great detail, play by play, of what happened to you. Okay, so on the other hand, if a person is lying, they can't recall details. So if you ask them, well, what's your targeting story? Tell me how you were targeted. They can scratch the surface, but they can't go into great detail because they don't have any memories attached to it because it really didn't happen. So your story can't really be too convincing, or that person's story can't be too convincing because they can't describe in great detail like a true targeted person can. And I'm using targeting for example, but that could be anything that they're trying to tell you. They could try to tell you the difficulties that they had when they bought a house, but it won't quite add up because there's no memories attached to it. So they're not getting the full details like you would if you're telling the truth. And that's a really, really, really important thing for everybody to know. When a person is telling the truth, there's memories there. And so it's going to come off as truthful. And if they're not telling the truth, they're not drawing it from anything. So they can't really go into detail. So most of the time they'll make it real short and real vague because they can't. They can't tell the truth. So the best thing to do in a situation like that is keep asking more. Keep asking more questions and more questions and more questions. And you'll see how they'll get frustrated about it because they can't tell the truth. Okay, another thing you can do is just ask a simple yes or no question. And if they fail to answer yes or no, then you should get a red flag on that. Because if they can't just answer yes or no, then they're probably going to give you some convoluted answer to a direct question. If you say, did you go to the store? They should be able to say yes or no. They shouldn't just beat all around the bush and come up with this long response. Especially if they start off with, then they're trying to deceive you more than likely. Because did you go to the store? That's a yes or no. That's not a long, strung out, convoluted story. Okay. Sometimes you just need to say, I'm really not sure about this. Why should I believe you? And if you ask someone that, why should I believe you? Then a truthful person would just simply say, because I'm telling the truth. That's why you should believe me, because I'm telling the truth. But a person who's lying will say something like, because I'm an honest person, or you don't have to believe me if you don't want to, or I don't have a reason to lie. Most of the time a truthful person will just say, I'm telling the truth. That's why you should believe me, because it's true. So the bottom line is the best way to kind of know if someone is a perpetrator or infiltrator or some sort of agent is to learn the signs of deception, because these people are out to deceive you and they're not telling the truth, and they try to infiltrate every targeted individual person's life. And if you suspect someone of being a perpetrator, then put them to the test with some of the things I shared here. Also do your own research, because the things that I did share here is not 100%, but hopefully it can help you to try to determine if some of these people in your life are truthful or not. And if they're not, it would be best to know with them, because they definitely don't mean you any good. They're there to try to get you off track and to set you up, and you don't need that in your life. So hopefully this helps.